What's up, pretty gang? Good morning. It's your favorite nail tech, Peaches, back with another video. And you're wondering, Peaches, why are you giving us nothing? Let me tell you something, okay? Because the thing about it was supposed to be a video on, a day with me. I had tons of clients. You was gonna see a bit of each until this client walked in like this. Okay, this is not the plan. And she actually got injured. Okay, so when I tell you this video, right? It's basically gonna be on how I basically helped this client with her injured nail. You guys, this appointment was a bunch of emotions all over the place. I almost couldn't take it. If you saw my story yesterday, you know it was a roller coaster. Okay, so first things first, Divine Nectar, you are our subscriber. You guys already know, turn on notifications in case you haven't already. Okay, so as you can see, this video was supposed to start out as a day with me. I was already running late, you guys, like late as in I live 10 minutes away. This is really 8:49. My clock is wrong. You can see I'm getting there literally 1 minute before, and mind you, I seen something pop up and she was like, oh, I'm in the lobby. I didn't see her in the lobby, so it gave me a chance to kind of prep my room. And then she basically came in right before the grace period was up. I guess she was in the bathroom. So when she came to me, I said, girl, what in the fuck? Because you were supposed to come for a fill on your hands and your toes. I said, I don't have time for all this. Like, this is bull. And she is a regular. She's been seeing me since 2020 throughout time or whatever, but I'm just like, girl, what the hell? And she's like, Peaches, please, Peaches, I didn't know what else to do, X, Y, and Z. I'm like, so why the hell you didn't mention nothing yesterday? Whatever. So initially I'm like, okay, basically I'm just going to repair what's gone and we're gonna call it good because I don't have time to be playing up on these nails. Now, one of them was severely like wiggling, not this one, but the original one that I was clipping the bling off at first. So I'm just thinking like face value. I'm like, all right, it's wiggling. It's probably just whatever. Okay, so I said, what the hell happened? Now that hurt her. She was like, ow. I'm like, damn. Now I asked her, I'm like, girl, what the hell? What happened? And she's like, I fell off a motorized BMX bike. I'm like, what? Mind you, these nails are damn near a month old, okay? And she was supposed to come last week for a fill, but wasn't able to, so that's why I was so shocked. So I'm just prepping her like, okay, I'm about to just put these repairs on and we'll see. But then I looked at this one, I'm like, girl, why is it so loose under there? Like, where is the substance underneath this nail? I'm like, it's cracked in the middle. I'm like, you know what, girl, we're probably not going to be able to do nothing for real on this nail because I'm like, I'm not putting a tip on this. It's cracked all the way in half. Like, the tip is not connected but is connected. So I'm like, do this hurt? I got my Inspector Gadget glasses on and such. So originally, like I said, I'm thinking, okay, we're just gonna repair what's off and we'll see what we have time for. I said, if anything, we're probably not gonna be able to do your toes. Okay, so as I'm looking, I'm like, girl, what have you done to yourself on this bike, child? Okay, what have you done on this bike? Okay, so you guys already know I'm also getting ready for work. So I promise you this video is going to be out today, but it's 8:13 a.m. Y'all know I drive like 30 minutes away from work when I stay at my main house. I gotta leave in like just a couple minutes. Okay, so basically at this point I'm thinking, she telling me this hurts. Okay, so at this point I'm thinking, okay, well, I gotta see what's up under here. Like, we gotta see what's going on with this. And when I say your critical thinking skills is what really gets you through in this nail tech game, if you don't have none, this is not the career for you. Okay, and I say career because it is a career. Okay, it's not nothing to play with. Okay, so I'm looking underneath because I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, so if the nail is not fully connected, I will be able to see underneath if it's not attached to you, and maybe that's why it's bent and it's hurting. Usually when the nail is bending like that, and I'm telling her, I'm like, it's because it basically popped back but not popped off. She said that all the other ones, they popped off like a damn bowling pin in the alley. Okay, she said they popped off and just spread out, landed every motherfucker, oh, excuse my language, everywhere. Okay, so that's what I'm checking for right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna do a little bit of work, I'm gonna finish this voiceover and I'm gonna upload. But right now y'all got to listen, because when I tell you the rest of the story, when I tell you how this day went, because I'm still thinking like, okay, we still gonna do a day in the life, child. Sorely mistaken. Let me tell you, sorely mistaken. Okay guys, it's 2:13 p.m. I have a client at 2:40. So once again, I'm gonna be in and out with this voiceover. You guys, I really want this video to get out to you guys today because it's so important that I educate you guys on what actually goes on. All right. So like I said, at this point, I was still thinking like, okay, everything's gonna be cool. But I did realize I need to get this nail off. So you see me using my left hand to grip her finger tightly and use my fingers to go ahead and like tilt the nail upwards, so that way when I rest my hand on top to file, there's no vibrations, there's no you know, shakiness, and the nail doesn't flick everywhere, because honestly I could barely touch it and she was hurt. Okay, so if you see her flinching any, it's because this nail is driving her nuts. So there's no way that I can even possibly go on and help her and service her without first getting this nail off and seeing what's going on. All right, y'all, and it took a while. I'm not even gonna lie, it did take a long time. It's not the first time that I've ever done this method, and it won't be the last. When you have a client that is complaining of severe pain, they've been in an accident, an incident, the nail has to come off. I know there's probably some text that's probably like, oh, go to the doctor. I don't want to say you don't want to do that, but honestly, they're going to take it off in a not so nice manner, okay? Because I've had clients tell me that that's happened to them before. So like I said, you want to really, really stabilize, and see, that's what I'm telling her. Like, I'm trying to be careful so that way you don't hit and go back and forth. The stabilization is key, because the reason why it's hurting is because wherever that the wiggling is going on is not right here at the top of where you see the lifting. It's going to be down deeper below, either towards the tip or smack in the middle of the nail. And my prediction was, I was predicting that it's like further down, like in the middle of the nail somewhere, and that's why it's hurting. And there's no way to know, is this nail coming off with the real nail, or is the real nail completely stabilized and maybe it's just the lifting that's hurt itself, or you're sore. So this is why the nail needs to come off. So I'm getting ready to speed it up, like literally double time, because it took about 8 minutes alone just to get this lifting off in a manner that is not going to hurt her. Okay, so you see my fingers underneath, and the pink glove are underneath holding it as my thumb and index are squeezing her tight. I promise you, it's not going to hurt them. What's going to hurt more is if you go ahead and try and get rid of this lifting. If it's wobbling around, they will not be able to take it. Okay, this is why I always say it's important to go to a licensed nail tech with experience in a lot of things like this, because the critical thinking, imagine if I wouldn't have known or wouldn't have even thought about the fact of like the comfort of the client, or just imagine if I would have turned her away or told her to put a band-aid on it. Like, there's so much more to doing nails than just like, okay, I'm gonna fill this and let it go. Okay, and yes, there are some instances to where if there's a little crack or something, you can do a fill, but you have to really know what you are doing, because left unchecked, that can lead to so many other problems, infection, just different things, you know what I'm saying? So still working on getting this off. You can see she's not flinching too much because I'm not really hurting her. Stabilization, 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 I'm gonna keep saying it. And so, you know, at this point I'm thinking, and I'm telling her, I'm like, girl, this bicycle did a number on you. Like, what the hell was you even thinking riding a motorized bike? Okay, and I was like, you know, was you trying to show out? Like, what was going on? And she said her cousin had got a new motorized bike or something, and so she thought she was going to take a spin on it, and spent the block and popped every nail off, chipped her toenails. Okay, she said her sandals went flying, she went flying, she couldn't breathe. And I said, yeah, well, serves you right, because nobody told you to get on that damn bike. Okay, so at this point I'm showing her, I'm like, okay, I can see that it is kind of red right there, and I'm showing her like, okay, you see this, it's further down than this. Okay, and so we're basically just holding our breath. Y'all, when I say stuff like this, it's like doing surgery. Okay, it's not a joke. And there are times where I do have to kind of lift the nail slightly, because we are getting closer to where the nail is lifted at. And so I'm trying to tell her and show her like, okay, so far I don't see any major harm, but you see how I have to keep testing it. I'm like, does that hurt? Does that hurt? She didn't flinch too much, which means we're getting closer to the point of the lifting. And so, fun fact, the further you are away from the actual point where it started lifting, the more it's gonna hurt. The closer you get to finding out where that split or that crack or that, you know, whatever is going wrong, the closer you get to that, the less it's gonna hurt, because the more stable it is. Okay, so that's kind of just, I guess, a little tidbit of info. So at this point, I'm like, I'm not gonna keep on filing. What I need to do is cut the nail, right? Because I'm like, although I don't see anything going wrong yet, I need to cut it. So I'm trying to grab her, like really grab it so that way that there's no lifting, and then I cut it, and the whole time I'm like, I'm sorry. So yeah, so you can see I'm still trying to stabilize the nail, and she's saying like it doesn't really hurt, and so I need to continue going because there still is lifting. You must remove all of the lifting, okay? And by this point I'm like, we're gonna have to soak the nail off, because there's just no way. I'm like, it doesn't look horrible. And so that's when I start telling her, I'm like, you know what, based on time and what's going on, I said, you've already got one nail over there that's cracked, and it does not need to have a nail on it. So this is where I'm explaining to her, I'm like, I believe we need to just soak off these like 3 nails, whatever, and we can do you maybe a little overlay, okay? And so she's like, okay, that's fine, like whatever. So I filed them down low, but not all the way as low as I normally do, just because I did not know what was going on with any of the other ones to be able to feel like, okay, let me just do things as I normally do, if that makes sense. So at this point I removed all the product, and it did take a while because like I said, I didn't file as low. And upon looking at her real nail, I'm like, girl, you did a number. Okay, so just look closely. You see on the one hand right here, she's got a crack in the middle of her nail, and the underneath is like indented, which tells me it's not fully connected. And then on this one, you can see how wiggly it is, and I'm testing. I'm like, does this hurt? Does this hurt? You always got to check that out. And you can see underneath that it's not attached, which is why earlier I was looking underneath, because I can see under there and just knowing, like, I feel like it's not attached. Okay, now the kicker is, although that one is not attached, I'm still looking and thinking, I'm like, oh, girl, you know, we're talking, I'm like, I was still thinking, you know, maybe we can. And then we just kind of agreed. I said, look, boo, I really don't advise you put anything. And she was like, you know what, I don't think I should. I'm like, yeah, no, you shouldn't. You definitely shouldn't. So this is when it flipped the script again into absolutely having nothing. Okay, absolutely having nothing. So I know normally I change the video perspective, but this is what it was pretty much looking like. I know you guys just kind of already saw this, but I just wanted to go ahead and give you another view. So for this, I went ahead, I'm like, let me just file this down some and get rid of some of that residue. I want to see, is it an even surface under here, or is it worse than I think, right? Now, when clients come in and they have problems like this, you see how like the whole nail, it's cracked in half, it's simultaneously attached and not attached, okay? So what I mean by that is, like, you see the sides, although it's wiggling, the sides are definitely still attached, but the tip of it is completely detached. So what I'm doing is kind of filing off some of the edges just to get off, you know, any excess product. And then I decided I'm gonna go ahead and fix those nails, and then we're gonna go ahead and basically just top coat them, and we're gonna leave them alone. I felt bad because, you know, it was her anniversary trip, I guess, that she had or whatever. But I'm like, girl, every time something always be happening to this girl. It's honestly crazy. She has the worst luck. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys really quick what it looks like when I go ahead and fix the nails. When nails are cracked like this, and it's cracked in a way that the nail is still salvageable, this is what I'll go ahead and do, because at this point I can't cut off any of this excess nail because it's still attached to her in some areas. So what I will do is I will place some glue on the crack, and I will go ahead and put the two pieces together. Now, some people were like, oh, no, it's not dangerous. It's the same as if you were to glue like a nail tip to a nail. But what I'm doing is just making it so that the two sides of the nail are more stable. Okay, so it's not going into the skin. It's not going anywhere except for on the surface of the nail plate. Okay, completely safe, completely fine. And what that's going to do is give us the stability, so that way I can go ahead and actually top coat, and there's not going to be wiggling, it's not going to catch or anything like that. And I'm going to use my really thick top coat, you know, the one I use for bling. It kind of has glue mixed into it from using it with bling so much, but it doesn't have a glue texture. Okay, it's just super thick. And I'm going to put this thick coating on both of those cracked nails, and so that way there will be no issues. They will grow out fine, and it's basically just giving them assistance to grow out well. All right, of course I already put the base coat down, and on the rest of them I'm just gonna top coat as normal. So I hope this is an eye-opener to some of those that, you know, maybe don't have the correct training to recognize what to do in instances if someone is hurt, someone's in pain, because there have been a lot of times where people have gotten into accidents and they're like, I just need these off. Because just imagine, like, what would you do? And that's why it's kind of hard that, you know, a lot of nail techs, they don't offer soak offs or repairs. They really don't offer anything except for full sets. But it's kind of a disadvantage because when clients urgently need help, they do not know how to help and they will not help. And for me personally, it's important that I'm always able to help clients in every which way possible, okay? So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, this is pretty much what we can do for her, okay? And this was the best result. It was an emotional roller coaster. I really wanted her to leave with her nails done, but unfortunately in my book it just was not worth it, okay? We did, however, do her toes, so toes is on point, okay? Toes is looking good, but this is the final result of her nails. You know, health is most important, the health and safety of the nails, and you can see it doesn't look as bad anymore, but definitely needs some healing, okay? And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.